Hey, culinary students, we're getting ready to start our unit on starches. We talked about, the big part of that is going to be rice dishes. We're going to start off today with a couple of dishes looking at the Pilaf method. You may have heard of rice pilaf. You may or may not have realized that it's actually a method that applies to many different rice dishes across the world. All right, so we're going to look at some of these keys of the Pilaf method. Again, here's another one of our ratios popping up. 2 to 1, 2 parts water. In this case, we're going to use 2 cups of water or stock to 1 cup of rice, and that's going to be a long grain jasmine rice. The first thing we're going to do is go wash the starch off this rice. All right, and then we'll revisit this after that. So I've already measured out 1 cup of my long grain rice. All right, let's go over here and get all this rice starch off of there. All right, so you may have hopefully seen this done before. Put a little water in the bowl with the rice. Give it a little agitation. You'll see it start getting cloudy and milky in there. Okay, and this will be another one of the uses for this little kitchen screen we talked about. Go ahead and pour that off. All right, I'm gonna do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times, so we get it running pretty clear. Okay, and like I always, I'm a little impatient on the videos, so I think 2 times will be plenty today. All right, get all that off. Pour it through the strainer now. We want this to be rinsed, but then we also want it to be fairly dry going in the pan. Because we're going to be looking, the next big key is going to be to toast the grain. All right, and we don't toast the grain if it's very wet. It's just going to steam and get mushy. That's not at all what we want with a pilaf. All right, so it's rinsed, straining in the basket. We'll put it in the bowl suspended there. That way it can continue to drain off a bit. All right, let's have a good look at our peas. We got, again, this is the basic French pilaf. Not tremendously flavorful. It's a light dish. It's not a main course. It's a side dish. Got a little bit of finely chopped onion, a little bit of garlic. For this one, we went with a little white pepper, a couple of bay leaves. I've got a little bit of oil here to toast the grains. A little shot of white wine to deglaze. A little salt and pepper. Actually, I won't be using the pepper because I've got the white pepper. And then right here, again, like I mentioned, we prefer to use chicken stock. But right now, it's making sense for us to use these bouillon cubes. All right, so let's go ahead and get that ready. Now, we want to have hot stock. So I've already brought my water to a boil over here. I'm going to go ahead and ladle out 2 cups. Let's see. Yeah, 2 ladles. Pretty darn good on that one, right? About 2 cups. All right. Now we'll take with our bouillon cubes. And it is better to measure it out after you've brought it to a boil, because otherwise you may evaporate a good portion of your liquid and lose it. Okay, get those in there. Hopefully they'll loosen up for us a bit in that hot water. Yeah, give them a moment. Break them up some, stir them a bit. When we're ready to use them, I think they'll be just about right. Okay, so I have got a small pan here with the lid. I already preheated it a moment ago, so it shouldn't take too long to get hot. Go ahead and add a little bit of oil. Okay, just a thin coating across the bottom. And this will be the next big step we got on here. We're talking about toasting the grains, which will be our rice, and the aromatics, which in this case will be our onions and our garlic we brought along. All right, so hey, got a little bit of response coming off the pan. Good. We want to pour the rice in there. Now, 1 cup is about as much as you would want to do in this little pot. You can see it's stacked up probably pretty close to an inch deep in that pot. If you were doing anything more, you want a bigger pot for sure, because we want to let the grain toast. You see, I'm not jumping in there and stirring it, because we want to let those grains get sealed off. Once they got a good hard shell, we can turn it and get the rest of it toasted up. If we have to do too much stirring, we end up breaking our grains, which is a fail when it comes to a pilaf dish. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the onion, because for a traditional French pilaf, they don't do a lot of toasting on the grain. You'll see whenever we use this method to make maybe Spanish rice or arroz con pollo, Russian plov, you know, some of these different dishes, we'll see that there's a lot more toasting involved. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my onions on the top. And you know what? Don't worry about that rice. It's fine in there. It's not burning. A little bit of that garlic. Well, you can give it a little pre-seasoning, a little salt, a little bit of that white pepper. Just a little bit on the pepper. Don't want to go crazy with it. All right. Let's go in here and give this thing a stir now. All right. You can see it's kind of sticking to the bottom of the pot. That's what we want. All right. There you go. Do you see that right there? How it's turned into a nice crispy chip. Got a little bit of color to it. That's exactly what we want to see when we're toasting our grains. That, or you can go deeper with the color even. All right. So just a little stir, get it all moved. All right, and these pieces, even though they look like they're cooked into a sheet, when the liquid hits it, they're gonna separate back into individual grains. But you're gonna see, just like when we cooked our roux last week, if you notice that smell that was coming off the cooking flour as it started to get a little bit toasty, a little bit nutty, the same thing is gonna happen here with with this rice grain. You're gonna get flavor from this toasting. All right. Let's see, bouillon. Yeah, it's loosening up for us. Very good. And you see, we've got this liquid. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off it, but it's definitely still hot. It's just boiling. The reason for that, we don't want to bring that rice up hot and toasty and then turn around and pour cold liquid on it. The hot and the cold, that thermal shock, you're going to break your grains, which is not what we're after. All right, so let's have a good look over here again. Okay. So yeah, the rice again, nice and toasty, getting crispy. Like I said though, for our traditional French pilaf, you're not going to go for a lot of color. Alright? It's going to be a subtle flavor, but it will still have flavor. So now, we're going to turn this heat down to the lowest. Alright? Where are we at on our... Yeah, we're about to add our hot stock, and then I'll give you a little talk about the confidence method. First thing here, since I brought it out, our white wine. Not mandatory, but it's nice. Little shot of white wine. Nice aromatic. Let the alcohol cook off. Just a nice little subtle flavor. And if you were to toast the rice or caramelize the onion or anything else in there anymore, the white wine would be a waste. You wouldn't even taste it. But in a subtle dish, it'll work out well. A couple bay leaves. Now, we're going to go ahead and add in our 2 parts of stock. Just give it a little shake, all right? And it should come pretty much right to a boil because of the fact that the liquid was already hot. And I'm going to turn it up just to prove myself right. Let's see. All right. I can smell that coming up off there real nice. So now, we're covering it because we do not want all the steam to escape. We don't want to lose the moisture. All right, so the lid is on there. Good sealing lid or a piece of tin foil, aluminum foil if you don't have a lid. All right, leave that go. Now, we're talking about my confidence method. What the confidence method is, and again, there are many of them. It's a way that you trust that if you do the rice this way, it's going to be great every time. So you don't have to have a lot of concern. You're not going to be, you're not going to be wanting to peek in there and get curious. What we know, or what I know, what works for me, I'm going to cover and simmer this on a low heat for 10 minutes. Don't touch it. Don't open the lid, all right? When it's done, we're going to let it stand covered for another 10 minutes. Like I said there, no peeking. If you open the lid, a whole rush of moisture is going to come out of there, and you're going to lose your ratio, all right? So we're going to trust this for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. We'll take the bay leaf off, we'll stir it through lightly, and it'll be ready for service. All right, good luck to you guys.